March 14th, 2012, my son Thomas lost his battle with the disease of addiction. I now belong to a club that no parent should ever belong to. Do you know the signs? Do you know the trends that children are doing in today's world? Do you know the signs and symptoms? Do you know the signs and symptoms of drug abuse? I want to empower and educate Long Islanders by bringing a force of professionals and how to prevent the disease of addiction. Long Island in Crisis. Good evening and welcome to Long Island in Crisis. This show is about the current epidemic of opiate and heroin abuse going on Long Island, certainly in the United States also. We are losing a generation. Every day on Long Island, a family wakes up without a loved one, and it's unacceptable. On March 14, 2012, I lost my son Thomas to the disease of addiction. So now I just look to advocate and empower and educate people on signs and symptoms, on better ways to cope, on getting involved and lifting the shame and stigma that goes along with this insidious disease. It keeps families quiet when you may certainly be standing next to someone on the soccer field at a PTA meeting that's going through the same things you're going through. So last week, my good friend Kim Lauby, we talked about coping skills in children and really for anybody. And this week, I am very proud to have Dr. Rick Mabanti here and Dana from Yoga Flex. And we're going to talk about some different ways to keep ourselves healthy. And it's really Eastern philosophy, right, guys? So, I can speak for myself that I am lucky enough to have found my practice, I guess, about 8 years ago. And my breath got me through my parents' deaths, my divorce, and then ultimately when I lost my son, when I couldn't breathe, I settled myself down with what I learned in yoga. So it is such an empowering practice to meditate and just, it's a moving meditation. It's my time to be all by myself with my voice quiet. So, how do you feel about what it brings to all your clients? Because I know I found your studio after I lost my son because I didn't really want to be around people that I knew. Or not that they were, close friends, but just acquaintances. And it's uncomfortable after losing, especially a child, to be able to interact with a lot of other people that you really don't want to interact with. So I found your studio, and I've laughed in your studio, and I've cried in your studio during my and it's a great way to just flush out all those things that need to come out of your soul.
Well, I personally have been in recovery for 21 years, and in 2000, my mother suggested that I find something to kind of settle me down because I was having trouble. Usually when you're addicted to drugs and alcohol, you go to something else, to take the place of the drugs and alcohol, whether it's eating or something. And I needed to find something healthy, to focus my time and energy on. So I found yoga in 2000. I started practicing hot yoga, and it really helped me to get through, the beginning of trying to stay clean and sober. It cleaned out my body. It made me feel good about myself. It took my mind off of, other things. It centered me. It allowed me to de-stress. So many benefits to doing yoga.
All of those things, and really on a cellular level.
Yeah.
Cleaning out everything, and that goes for anybody. So sugar, right, flour, any of the bad things that we put into our bodies comes out. You really can detox during, any yoga class.
Yeah, and certainly hot yoga.
And certainly hot yoga.
You sweat so much, you really detox the body. And so I found it's very helpful for me, personally. And then as I continued my practice, I ended up meeting my friend Karen, and we opened the studio together. And, I try to bring a little bit of my recovery words into my class. There's so many similarities between yoga and recovery. And so every once in a while I'll throw in something, and it's funny because when I do that, people always come up to me afterwards and say, oh, I have 5 years clean or something like that.
Oh,
so
wow.
yeah,
See?
I get a lot of,
Yeah.
good response when I do that. And it's always great helping people. But personally for me, especially people in recovery that I can help to find, another way to,
Also,
try to stay
family
away.
members. I speak of
Absolutely.
it to people that are dealing with such stress in their lives that you have to take care of yourself, because if you're not healthy, you can't take care of anybody else.
It's true.
So as a mom, right, the saying used to be, if the mama ain't happy, nobody's happy. So
Right.
moms and dads need to be strong and healthy and prepared to deal with whatever comes their way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the thing that's beautiful about yoga is it embraces the natural processes of the body. So ways that your body naturally will feel good. It'll give you pleasurable sensations, inducing endorphin releases. It increases oxygenation, increases blood flow. So all these things are natural ways of feeling good, which is really what people are looking for when
Yes.
they're reaching for a substance.
Yeah,
They're looking
absolutely.
for ways to feel good.
Yep.
I think the problem runs deep because it goes into our culture and how we embrace a health and how we embrace feeling good. We look for an outside-in approach. And the Eastern principles, which are really natural principles, look from an outside-in approach.
Yes.
So that's why I personally love yoga. I've been drawn to chiropractic. I've been a chiropractor for like 30 years now almost. And
But you're only 10.
yeah, exactly. This is the benefit of starting early in life. But that being said, now in my life, I'm getting up there in my later 50s now, and utilizing these methods for feeling good for me has been, the success principles of life.
Oh, absolutely.
The things that are going to keep you energetic. It's going to keep your mind focused. It's going to help you with your physical energy. So,
Muscle mass,
yes,
balance.
absolutely.
Balance is a big issue when you get a little older, Certainly not for us right now, but without your balance as you age, not a good place to be.
Well, and also, Rick was saying it's the natural feel good,
Right.
which is what, like you said, when people are using,
Yeah,
they're just looking to fill that void. And this is just a really great way to fill that spiritual void,
Yeah,
which
absolutely.
is usually the problem,
It's usually a hole in your soul
Yep.
that you're looking to fill with something. And I know every time we practice at your studio, at many yoga studios, it's the gratefulness of the heart. It's the giving away of the blessings to someone else. Put someone else before you that day, and give your practice to that person that day. And that's also another great way to feel good. That you feel like you've done something for somebody else.
Yeah, absolutely. Part of service,
Service.
Giving back what was so freely given to you, like
Mhm.
when you're in recovery. And so for me, it's my way of giving back.
sure,
Doing
absolutely.
service to others and helping people the way that I was helped. And if you do something healthy for yourself, like yoga, then you think twice maybe about putting another substance in your body because you feel like you're healthy. Why do you want to put that junk back in you when you just detoxed it all out? You
Absolutely.
feel like $1 million when you leave the studio. You don't want to go home and smoke a joint or drink a beer
Or eat a piece of cake, it's any and
Well,
all
I
of
still
those
do that
things.
sometimes.
Well, but there's
You do think
certainly,
about it.
but you do think differently about it. You do think differently about it. I know I do, but sometimes your body also then starts to ask for, really, I want turnips, or it's like no, yeah. So it's just your body will start to heal itself and ask for what it really needs, not what your mind says it wants. So I think it's an amazing practice that's over 5,000 years old. So it's got to be something to it. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Rick,
that's the beauty.
tell me about chiropractic and really turning back on all the lights in your body.
Yeah,
really.
I mean, that's the thing about chiropractic. It's very synergistic with yoga, with a lot of natural methods that have been discovered over thousands of years, like qigong, kung fu, yoga. These are research projects that have occurred over a 10,000 year period of time. So they've discovered the ways that the body works naturally, and that's what chiropractic is. It looks at the natural control mechanism, which is your nervous system, right? Controls, coordinates, and organizes the function of all systems. So if you understand the nervous system, how it works, there's basically two modes of your nervous system. There's protection mode and there's healing mode. Sympathetic, parasympathetic. So if you can heal and restore the spine and nervous system to a condition of parasympathetic, natural euphoria is a condition that occurs. You feel good. If you ever get a good chiropractic adjustment, there's a euphoria that feels. There's a state of calm, there's a state of peace that you feel after that, right?
Yeah,
Both of you experience
absolutely.
that.
Yes.
And that being said, if there are injuries and things that are preventing you from practicing yoga, it will allow you to engage
Been
those
there.
areas of your body so that you can strengthen and have a full-on practice. So where you can experience the benefits of yoga or whatever body movement thing that you like to do. So for me, chiropractic is just another approach to utilizing the natural and the inborn healing potential of the body.
Is there specific, how does that relate to someone who is in recovery, early recovery especially?
That's a great question because, in the nervous system there are opiate receptors, right? So for somebody to
Yes.
access that sense of well-being, feeling good, may be impaired if there's obstruction to the structural system. So if the spine is restricted, the ability for your natural endorphins to engage in those opiate receptors is limited. So restoring the function of the spine and nervous system allows the opiate receptors to take up the natural opiates that your body secretes, the endorphins, enkephalins, interferon. So people in recovery, for example, will have a higher rate of success. These are some studies that have been looked at with chiropractic specifically. They'll have a better adherence to a recovery program if they're under chiropractic care and acupuncture as well.
Acupuncture, I know, different recovery, Seafield for one, out in West Hampton Beach, they practice yoga and they have an acupuncturist come in. It's not uncommon for, 28-day rehabilitation centers to have those practices.
Well, it makes
There.
sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. But then you have to take someone who's so, you have to bring their mindfulness back around so that they're open to receiving acupuncture and,
Well, yeah, that could be a little testy too.
yeah, that could be a little testy too. So there's different things. Oils too, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Natural oils.
natural
Anything
oils.
that's going to affect your biochemistry and your
Mhm.
nervous system. So your nutrition is a big variable. If you're eating natural, holistic foods with minerals and hydration and vitamins, that's going to allow you to have a better biochemistry, which in turn will improve your neurochemistry. So you're going to feel good when you're eating good. You're going to feel good when you're exercising. You're going to feel good when you're resting better, when you're sleeping.
And that's a big part. So I know from my son, nighttime was, he was always awake at night. So exhausting yourself during the day and
Yes.
doing natural activities, physical activities so that you can sleep at night.
Well, and yoga definitely helps that.
Yeah, yoga
Absolutely.
definitely helps that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's why at the 8 o'clock class at night, I come home and then just right into bed. It just, so yes, you do need to, but it quiets your mind too. It just quiets your mind.
Yeah.
That's how
Yeah,
I
which
find
is
it.
ultimately the purpose for yoga initially, right? Was to be able to meditate,
Exactly.
for a longer period of time where you can quiet that chatter in the mind, those thoughts that aren't the best thoughts, the thoughts that say maybe you're not good enough.
Well, yeah, I
Or,
mean, the
you
yoga
know,
that we practice
Right.
here in the United States is mostly postures, asana. So when most people think of yoga, they don't really think about meditation. They think about doing poses. And like Rick said, the poses were created so people could sit in meditation for long periods of time and quiet the mind. So exactly right. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
doing
and
all
my
those
experience is
poses.
when I practice yoga, my mind kind of gets quiet, because you're doing all these physical things.
And you're exhausted.
You're occupying.
Well, you're exhausted
You're
anyway.
occupying your mind. It's hard to think about anything else when you're in a room of 105 degrees or whatever the temperature
true.
is
Very true.
in there.
Well,
Just
that's
focus on getting
that's
through it.
part of practicing
You're
yoga,
very
too.
focused, you're
Hold
concentrated.
that thought right now, and we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Tatiana, and I'm a person in long-term recovery from heroin addiction. It was really, really hard, waking up in the morning, not knowing what to do, needing my next bag. I was so lost, but I'm here today to tell you that there is a solution. When I was in my active addiction, I didn't realize that there was another way of life. I thought that that was the only way, because it felt so good to get high, but it was all an illusion, and I didn't realize that. But today, being 4 years clean and sober, my life is absolutely amazing. I'm able to travel, I don't need a drink, I don't need a drug. I'm just happy being with myself. I couldn't understand for many years why was I doing this? It's because I was an addict, but I didn't know it. Today, many kids are becoming addicted to drugs and alcohol, but they don't know exactly what they're getting into until they're out of it. And it's our job, it's my job, to stand for these kids, stand for their recovery, and fight for their addiction. So I'm the president of Onward Forever, and I provide recovery services and support. And we're here to help. We're here to just listen. Anything that we can do to help. If you need me, this is how you get a hold of me. Please call 347-244-1550. 347-244-1550. I developed this company to help you, our families, and our community to fight this crisis on Long Island and in our nation. Thank you.
Welcome back to Long Island in Crisis. So we were just speaking about yoga and the benefits of chiropractic and really all Eastern philosophy medicines. I know without my yoga practice I'd be lost. And I've had a serious kind of back thing going on, and They wanted to remove my disc,
Mm-hmm.
fuse my back together, and thank God I had had a yoga practice prior to that,
Yes.
because it took a long time, but I'm back.
Absolutely, and it makes sense to try a less invasive method first.
Absolutely.
Try something that is less dangerous, less toxic first. And that's what, these Eastern philosophies are natural philosophies. They really are just ways of looking what occurs what occurs in nature, and working in conjunction with it.
Americans, and this is my humble opinion, but always look for the easy way out. So there's a pill to put you to sleep. There's if I could have surgery and my back would be fixed, well, let's think about that. They're going to cut next to your spine.
Mm-hmm.
Not really a thought that interests me, because it's certainly, if let's say I had that done and it was without exhausting all other methods, it would have ultimately changed who I am and my ability to do what I like to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it would have been different, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Once you go in surgically, there is certain things that are altered.
Yeah.
So if you can utilize a less invasive, more natural approach first, certainly try that. It makes total sense to do that. And that's what chiropractor does. I've had many patients that have had recommendations for surgery, have been on very heavy medications. And by the way, that's where a lot of addictions start for people,
pills.
is through pain medication, opiate
Absolutely.
use for pain, and they're in excruciating pain, so they're looking for something. So if you can introduce a natural way of reducing pain, like chiropractic and acupuncture and yoga and qigong, you can eliminate their pain or the cause of their pain, avoid the use of those opiates, and to me that's probably where a lot of the addictive behavior occurs
Well, it
now.
definitely is.
in
So
the
this year
21
we
population.
were in Albany and we were advocating for 3 hours of continuing ed, not in addition to physicians, but if you have a DEA number and you are able to write an opiate, that 3 hours every 2 years on palliative care, on end-of-life care, and also how to prescribe short-acting opiates and long-acting opiates, because in the course of 2 weeks, your body will become addicted to opiates, period, end of conversation. That's what's going to happen. So way too many doctors go to that particular drug. And I happen to believe that I think there are a lot of other drugs that could be used in place of using an opiate. Dr. Delman, who was here in May, he is a addictive medicine specialist. He's a brilliant man. He's at Southside Hospital. His son is a cancer surgeon. And he asked his son what he uses for pain management. He uses 800 milligrams of ibuprofen and 25 milligrams of Tylenol in an IV. And his patients have no pain, coming through probably the most horrific surgeries that we could think of. And he's not prescribing opiates. So there has to be a better way.
Well, there is. I mean, people like me in recovery, I always tell my physician if I ever have any surgical procedures or any situations where I need pain medication, absolutely no opiates. I mean, one time I had to take a Percocet, I took one and that was it. And after that, it was all Tylenol.
Yeah.
It works just as well.
I think that we go to the hard stuff before trying the
Yep.
ibuprofen. It's usually much more effective. So, but
I
if
mean,
it
it
isn't
works.
effective, then you move up the ladder.
Right,
But you
exactly.
don't start at the top and then climb down, because there's no place else to go.
Yeah, that's the way we should treat our health, and as well as our happiness as well.
When
start
I
with
was a
the
kid,
simple
I don't
things.
know about you guys, but my arm could have been hanging off, and my father would have said, "You're all right. We'll put a Band-Aid on it, and you're getting an aspirin," and that was
Yeah,
it.
I mean,
And
I don't
that's it,
remember ever. And
They-
the
they
incidences
never-
now, everybody's on oxys now these
Right.
days. It's
Right.
like ridiculous. No wonder so many people are dying.
Addicted, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure,
and
because
then
where's the place to go when you can't get OxyContin?
Heroin.
You're gonna go to
Exactly.
heroin.
Well, that's what it is.
You're gonna-
Basically, it's the
You're
same
gonna go
thing.
to the cheaper, easy attainable form, which is on the street.
because I stopped at its job now. People can't doctor shop.
Right.
So the natural progression is to go to heroin, and it is $5 a bag. So that person with the, struggling with the disease of addiction says, well, I can snort it. I'll never inject it. But that's a natural progression that's going to happen also. So we need to stop. We need to change society. We need to, steer the ship a different way.
Exactly.
For lack of a better term.
It's the paradigm in which we look at our happiness and our health, and we're looking, again, through an outside approach. And we're ignoring some of the things that are available that are very beneficial and easier to attain and a lot healthier to attain. So you can make your pain go away easier and healthier with some natural methods,
Sometimes I think you need to know that you have pain.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Sure.
I tore 2 meniscus in my knee.
That's a very good point.
Yes,
And-
that's a very good point.
I did a 3-week cleanse, which I went almost vegan. 10 days into that cleanse, all the swelling was out of my knee, and I was practicing Bikram. And my knee was, in a couple of months, fine. When I went back to the orthopedist, he said, I don't know what you did, but you're fine.
True. Because
So-
you listen to your pain. The
I
pain's
listen-
there for a reason.
Exactly,
It's letting you know
exactly.
there's something going
If
on
I
there.
had been taking something, I would have still been an idiot.
Right,
I'd be
taking
an
it.
idiot and be doing exactly what I wanted to do. And
I had the same issue with my bursitis. I mean, my shoulder, they wanted to give me shots. They
Yeah.
wanted to give me pills. I just did yoga and it went away.
That's one of the
Little
dangers.
weightlifting, little yoga, it's all gone.
That's the danger of pain medication. It allows you to do things that you shouldn't necessarily be doing.
Right, because you don't feel anything.
Exactly.
pain is a necessary,
Right. So utilize it to that degree. Of course, if you need to get sleep or
excruciating
whatever.
pain. We're not talking about
Yeah.
that now. We're talking,
Absolutely.
end of life pain, whatever can be done to ease
Sure.
people's pain.
But
I-
yes, understand
but
the purpose of
you
pain.
get hurt, you need to know that something hurts.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
And again, it's looking at the natural rhythms of the body.
Mhm.
Pain has a purpose, euphoria has a purpose. All these things are signals that our physiology naturally has. If we learn to work in conjunction with them, your level of health is going to be better, and it will be more sustained, and it'll be more balanced for you specifically, for your particular bio-individuality, if you listen to your own warning signals. If you kind of dial in and you don't push that far with this particular thing if it hurts, you know what I mean?
Well,
So-
and when you're off drugs and alcohol, you do dial into your body a lot
Yes.
more. When you're using, you're
Yes.
not thinking about what you're doing. You're just
Yes.
loading yourself up with all this crap.
Yeah.
And then when you get off of it, then all of a sudden you realize, what you're doing, and you start feeling things, and you start thinking about what you're doing to your body and what you're putting in. Like we said
Right.
before, it's like crazy.
So we were just mentioning that in kindergarten, I know a lot of teachers that practice yoga are bringing that into their classrooms just to settle their kids down. So how awesome would that be if kids got to learn how to center themselves, how to breathe, how to not get, to be able to take themselves when they get upset. And all children get upset. So to be able to give them 3 minutes where they could just settle their breath and be able to really use their words then, instead of crying and being, out of control. Because, with every kid labeled attention deficit, again, I'm the youngest of 5 kids, so it used to be you were really busy when you were little. But you also had to sit still, and you also had to do the best you could to listen. And I think there's so many other ways to teach children, instead of just going to medicine, how to deal with whatever's going on inside of their body. But identify it and then teach them coping skills to deal with what's, going on in the inside of them. Have you had any experience with kids or hearing?
Well, yeah, I mean, for hot yoga, much under the age of 12 is not recommended, really. We do have a couple of non-heated classes where we have some children coming in. My kids started when they were like 10 or 11.
That's awesome.
Which is great. I mean, we were talking about that before, like how cool would it have been if we had found yoga at that age, maybe I wouldn't have turned out the way I did, because I started using when I was 13.
Right?
So, yeah, and I used for 18 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and I didn't find yoga until I was 31. So, what if? Like, it could have been so different for me,
Right, the what
and,
if.
I'm just grateful that my kids are able, they come, all the time.
Sure.
And, I know people that do kids yoga all over the place at other studios,
Yeah.
non-heated kids yoga, which is great.
And
I think
kids,
it's awesome. They
the
love
kids
it.
love it.
And they're amazing at it, too.
they are amazing. Well, they can move in
Yeah.
ways that
Right.
And like you said
that
in the
I
beginning,
wish I could still do.
you're teaching them principles. You're teaching them, your body has the ability to heal itself. You can pay attention to your feelings and your thoughts, and you express them differently. So it's a different paradigm. It's saying that your body is smart, it's wise. There's answers here. We have the best chemical factories on the planet right
Yes.
here, known as our biochemistry. And if we learn how to trigger our biochemistry to, be healthy, to provide calmness, for example, if we learn that at an early age, you'll start to incorporate these things naturally. The dentist did a great job of coming in early and giving us the little red stuff that we put on our teeth to show us plaque. And we learn that plaque grows there. So if we learn at an early age that there's a way to access calmness, there's a way to access peace, there's a way to access happiness in your own biochemistry without an outside substance, then you're operating in a different frame, a different
Yeah,
context.
who knew that as a kid? I
Exactly.
never heard anything like that.
No, you had to be quiet at times.
Yes, right, exactly.
We learned by
But it
the-
certainly wasn't in
by the
meditation.
belt.
No.
But yeah, that's where I think it really ultimately has to begin. That's where we can eliminate addiction, is by really addressing, what we are looking for, which is feeling good. We want to feel happy. We want to feel ecstasy. We want to feel elation.
Yeah.
Yeah, how can we get those things naturally?
How can we get those things
Inside of a 20 minute, 30, 40, 50 minute yoga class, you're going to feel awesome when you get done.
I
You
feel
like
awesome.
$1 million.
feel like $1 million bucks.
Really, when I start my practice, as soon as I change my breath to
Yeah.
my breath, it's an automatic. It's just automatic. My body goes into calmness.
Absolutely. If
and-
you measure your brainwave activity with nose breathing alone, you'll see your brainwaves go into an alpha state, a meditative state, just through altering your breath.
I've been at the doctor's office for a physical, and they'll do my blood pressure, which I have no issues with. I'm like, you want to see a good trick? And once I start my breathing,
It goes
they're
down.
like, yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, well, my blood pressure is really low now since
Yeah.
I've been practicing.
My blood pressure is really, so, but when you can do that little trick and just start breathing, I'm like, yeah, now try it.
So you just eliminated blood pressure medication.
Yeah.
There you
Just
go.
think about it. I mean,
But
just,
you
just
can be,
inside of that.
listen, we live on Long Island, you could be on the LIE, and I go to my breath a lot.
That's-
Well, yeah, one of the things I say during class is one of the things we learn how to do in the hot room is to be comfortable in an uncomfortable situation. So you take that experience that you have in the yoga studio, you bring it outside when you're in the car on the LIE and you want to kill somebody. You learn how to be comfortable in an uncomfortable situation. You breathe and
That's
you get
when
through
yoga
it.
begins.
Exactly.
Not in the hot room. That's really is
That's
your practice.
doing yoga.
That's doing yoga, but you practice yoga when you want to hit the person online
Exactly.
in front of you.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's why a spiritual life is so powerful. Because if you're looking to a higher power, a higher context, for wisdom, for your own value, whatever, and you understand that that's a vital part of your life, then that eliminates stress to some degree as well.
Oh, absolutely.
So you align all these things. You align your spirituality with your nutrition, with your physical activity, with your structural alignment, with your physical practice, and all of that creates a higher state, a healthier state and a happier
Well,
condition.
and when you do all those things, you realize that your body is your temple.
Yes.
And you don't want to put all that, like I said before,
Yeah.
all that junk into your body. When I think about all the things that I put into my body when I was out there using,
Yeah.
it makes me sick to my stomach. Like
horrific,
I would
exactly.
never do any of those things. Like for me, it's so precious, this body.
You-
We only have one body.
Absolutely.
You know,
And
we gotta
that's the
take care
best
of
way.
it.
It is your temple. So
Absolutely.
we need to bring more focus, and it doesn't. You can heal everything you need to heal by natural sources. Of course, if you have an infection, or I'm not talking about that, but I'm making a decision every day to do something for yourself, and that is yoga. Or that is whatever you decide it to be.
Chiropractic.
Going chiropractic, going for a walk by the beach, sitting and being quiet, and just listening and maybe you're going to hear your higher power talk to you, and maybe you're going to find the solution to something that's really been bugging you. But you can't do it when you're always, you have to sit and just be sometimes.
I mean, think about it. If you had a really troubling time, and you just gotta have a good night's sleep, the next day you wake up, maybe that problem doesn't seem that bad anymore, or you come up with a solution the next day. Just
Yeah.
by changing your sleeping pattern, getting a good night's rest.
Getting a good night's rest.
So all of these things are affecting our biochemistry, all the time. It's impossible not to alter your biochemistry. The thing is to understand, what moves in a positive direction.
Yeah, and that may be different for me having a yoga practice. I think everyone benefits from yoga. So what do you say to people who say, oh, I can't do those poses. I can't stretch.
I
I'm
can't
not
even touch
limber."
my toes.
Right.
I always say the same thing. I say, saying that I can't go to yoga because I'm not flexible is just like saying I can't go to the gym because I'm too fat. So when are you going to go to the gym?
Right.
It's
Right.
like a catch-22. You come to yoga to get more flexible, maybe. You don't
Absolutely.
not go because you're not flexible. You have to try it, And what we do is a beginner's yoga. It's not difficult. Anybody can do it. We get all sizes, shapes, ages, levels of fitness. I mean, we have marathon runners and we have, overweight, people who can't touch their toes. And they're all doing the same practice. Not at the same level, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. And the one thing is you are in the room by yourself. So it doesn't matter what the person next to you is
It's true.
doing. And
People don't realize that at first.
People
but-
don't realize that, but you just have to check your ego at the door and not worry about anything else. You just
Yeah,
have to.
it's amazing, like the different variety of people that we get at the
It is.
studio.
It really is.
And how many people we help. And for me, it's just amazing because I was in corporate for 20-something years. Actually, I was in pharmaceutical advertising sales, which is kind of the opposite of yoga.
Yeah,
Anyway.
that's for sure.
Yeah, right? We were just talking about that as like the cause of half of the addictions out there. So, I was miserable in that job. So from doing that to doing this, for me, is like huge because now I feel like I'm helping people.
You're giving back.
I'm giving back, like I said.
Yeah, you're
You
giving
know.
back.
And it's every single day I have somebody say something miraculous to me. Like, oh my God, thank you so much. You saved my life. You got me through this. I had this and now I don't anymore. I don't have to take my thyroid medication anymore. Or, you got me through a really hard time in my life.
Yeah.
Something I was going through. It happens every day.
It happens every day.
We have a
but
testimonial book. People write testimonials. It's just,
you
it's
just
really-
because you give yourself the time to experience what I could have, after my son died, I could have gotten prescriptions for Valium, for Xanax. I could have drank. I could have done anything and everything. And people would have said, well, oh my gosh, look at what she's going to.
Right.
But at the end of that run, however long that run would have been, 6 months, 6 years, my son still would have been
Yeah.
dead. And I would have still had to sit through all of those uncomfortable feelings. And it's having the ability to be able to sit through your own thoughts and feelings without having to use something else. They do pass. They
And that's
do
what they
pass.
teach you in recovery. It's the same thing for
Right.
for addicts and alcoholics and people trying to stay away from drugs and alcohol. It's the same thing. You have to get through it,
That
You have to
feeling
feel your
will-
feelings.
Right, you have to feel
This
your
too
feelings.
shall pass,
Right.
And we say it in yoga too,
Exactly. And if you can't do something, it's okay. Try again tomorrow. It's not the end of the world
Right.
for all of those things that could be. So, how you look at life, you have to look at it a little bit differently. Not everything's going to be solved in a half an hour. So do what you can and let the rest go, and tomorrow's another day, like you were just saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a proper gradient, take it one at the level that you can take it for that particular moment.
For that particular moment.
If you can only touch your knees, that's fine. Touch your knees. Continue to touch your knees, and maybe you're going to get to your shins soon.
And you will.
And it will open up.
Yes.
You
You will.
that's
I mean,
the
saying
thing.
you're
You
too
will.
tired to take yoga is like saying I'm too thirsty to drink.
Exactly.
It doesn't
Too fat
make-
to go to the
Too
gym.
fat to go to the gym.
Too fat to go to
It
the gym.
doesn't, it doesn't make sense, and
No.
and I think that's the concept that you got to get is like, it's okay where you are, and just take one step closer to where you want to be. And
That's a great,
across the
and on
board.
that note, we're going to go to commercial and we'll be right back.
After all the candles are blown out, after the last toast of the night, Cambridge paving stones with Armortech stand the test of time. Beautifully designed, built to last. Only Cambridge paving stones have Armortech, our unique process that produces a rich, distinctive color. Create your own memories with Cambridge paving stones. Visit CambridgePavers.com.
Cambridge paving stones with Armortech will always look like new. Yo, what's up, y'all? This is me, GMC, in the place to be, the greatest MC in history. There will never be an MC greater than me. And right about now, the only place for you to be is with the one and only Madhouse TV. You are the man.
Hi, I'm Tatiana, and I'm a person in long-term recovery from heroin addiction. It was really, really hard, waking up in the morning, not knowing what to do, needing my next bag. I was so lost, but I'm here today to tell you that there is a solution. When I was in my active addiction, I didn't realize that there was another way of life. I thought that that was the only way, because it felt so good to get high, but it was all an illusion, and I didn't realize that. But today, being 4 years clean and sober, my life is absolutely amazing. I'm able to travel, I don't need a drink, I don't need a drug. I'm just happy being with myself. I couldn't understand for many years why was I doing this? It's because I was an addict, but I didn't know it. Today, many kids are becoming addicted to drugs and alcohol, but they don't know exactly what they're getting into until they're out of it. And it's our job, it's my job, to stand for these kids, stand for their recovery, and fight for their addiction. So I'm the president of Onward Forever, and I provide recovery services and support. And we're here to help. We're here to just listen. Anything that we can do to help. If you need me, this is how you get a hold of me. Please call 347-244-1550. 347-244-1550. I developed this company to help you, our families, and our community to fight this crisis on Long Island and in our nation. Thank you.
And we're back. And, I really want to talk about SoberFlex on Saturday night at your studio.
Yes.
So tell us about it.
Well, I was mentioning that, I got into yoga in 2000, so I had some clean time at that point, and Karen and I opened the studio 5 years ago. And in my teachings, I always bring up recovery and little drips and drabs because there's so many similarities, and it's helped me so much in my recovery to practice yoga. And I have a lot of students that are in recovery. I have a lot of students that have lost family members. And I was really interested in doing something like that. And
So isn't it amazing, though, that people come in and they're not going to share that?
No.
But you could be next to this very same person in the studio that is going through exactly what you're going through.
Well, now it's crazy because last month we had the first SoberFlex.
Yes.
And people showed up that I didn't even know were in recovery. People that I see every day that I teach yoga to who are clean and sober. It was crazy. It was so cool. So now I have that
That's
other
powerful.
connection with with those people. So what I decided to do for now, once a month, we do a 1 hour meeting, followed by a 1-hour yoga class. It's free, so anybody can come, which was important because there's a
Yes.
lot of people in recovery coming out of rehabs or detoxes who don't have any money.
They don't
I
have
mean,
any money.
let's
And
face
that's
it,
a treat.
yoga's not cheap.
No.
So I wanted this, Karen and I both wanted to offer something for free to people in recovery, and family members and friends.
Family members, and I want
Yeah.
to stress for family members.
Yes.
That if you can find a place to come and just let go and de-stress, because you need to be able to, it's such a horrific thing for the family also. They suffer when, their loved one is going through.
Yeah.
Suffer tremendously.
So yeah,
you need to take care of yourself.
family members, friends of people that are in recovery, people in recovery. So that was the idea. And, it's not an original idea. I mean, there are other things like that happening out there, but mine is SoberFlex because it's particular to our studio and our style of yoga. And, me having 21 years clean and sober in recovery, I know a little bit about meetings and how to run a meeting, so it was kind of like that. And
So it's an open meeting.
it's an open meeting.
You
for
don't
anyone.
have to talk if you don't want to.
No, you can just sit and listen. Last
And
month,
isn't it amazing that you probably always hear exactly what you're supposed to hear at some point during that meeting?
yes. Well, it's a show of hands, so you have to raise your hand if you want to speak. We have a topic. Last month, the topic was gratitude. So everybody talked a little bit about gratitude and how it related to what was going on in their life or their practice or whatever. And it was so amazing. We had like 30 people for the
Wow.
first meeting. It was really great. And then we do a 1-hour like non-heated or warm class, very easy class, beginner's class. We had all different levels of
You
practitioners.
don't need any experience.
No
to come and
experience
practice.
necessary. I had Karen and Eugene, another one of my teachers, walking around doing adjustments during class, helping people. So that was really cool too. I think a lot of people appreciated that. And then we do like refreshments afterwards. Like,
What should someone wear if they come to a meeting and want to practice in the
yeah,
class?
if they, anything that they're comfortable in,
Okay.
exercising, shorts, capris, leggings,
T-shirt.
t-shirt, anything like that.
Okay. I want to see Dr. Rick in capris.
Look very nice in capris, I'll have you know.
Yeah, so it's going to be the second Saturday of every month. So that is this Saturday,
This coming Saturday at 7 p.m. 6 p.m.
6 o'clock is the meeting,
Okay.
and then 7:15 is the class.
Okay.
It's best
And
to
the
do
address?
both. The address is 639 Comac Road. It's in Comac. It's Yoga Flex.
Yoga Flex.
So we're
It's
in
right by the
between-
Bagel Boss.
Bagel Basket.
That's Bagel Basket.
It's in between the LIE and the Northern State,
Yes.
right on Comac Road.
Right on Comac Road. Easy to find.
Yeah.
Anybody can, Facebook message me if they need the address. I'll put it up on Thomas's Hope Facebook page.
Yeah, you can go to our website too, which is
And- or YogaFlex.
Yeah, yogaflexny.com. If you hit the events button, the flyer for the SoberFlex will come up.
Excellent.
So it's on there.
Excellent.
And you guys should both come.
Absolutely.
Cool.
I'm looking forward to
I
it.
will come.
Yeah,
I'm looking
it's really
forward
cool.
to it. It is.
It's special.
Yeah. I think it's, for family members who maybe their loved one is still struggling to come and see people in recovery and know that it's attainable and to, never lose hope and faith that their loved one will find that.
Well, yeah,
Because
and
there's
hearing
always
the
hope and
people
faith.
talk,
Yes.
and you might not have that experience as a friend or family member, listening to people in recovery talk about their experience, it's very uplifting
Yes.
and very emotional, and it can be very healing too.
Yes.
And we do take donations. There's a new sober house opening up in Freeport for women
Oh, excellent.
called the MVP Miracle House in Freeport. So anybody that wants to donate money, we're not charging for the class or anything, but donations go to MVP House, and we raised a couple $100 last month for
That's
them.
great. That's
and they're
great.
just opening up, taking applications now for that. So that's
Yeah, because we do need more sober living on.
yeah.
They need to be supported before they
There's not a
step.
lot of women's sober houses
No,
out
there
there
isn't.
on Long Island either.
No.
So
No,
it's a good cause.
it is a good cause. So, Dr.
agree.
Rick, tell me about Love Grace juices.
So Love Grace juices are juices that are sold at the yoga studio,
Yes.
as well as many other locations. It's a great natural organic juice, which is produced by Jake, my son. And, Jake is kind of a product of being indoctrinated in natural health and wellness. So it was kind of a natural thing for him to fall into this company.
Let me ask, did
And
he
it's
have
smart.
any ADD or anything going on when he was
Well,
younger?
you know what? I mean, he's a regular kid. He had his
Right.
moments of, not paying
Of course.
attention in class, and he went through his things. He went through experimentation with drugs, caught him smoking pot, all these things,
Everybody.
and I think just creating an environment for him where, I encouraged him all the time to really look to his heart and what he loved to do, so he's always excited about things. And of course encouraged him, and brought him up in a natural health environment. So it was kind of a natural thing for him to move into something that he felt he was helping people with, which is natural foods. He was a raw food chef for a while, and so he created these recipes that are very delicious.
They are.
I mean, it's hard to take spinach and kale and chicory and make it into a delicious juice.
But he does it.
But he does it. These juices are great, and like I said to you, it's like
Yeah.
it's like taking the energy from the sun and infusing it into your body, because that's essentially what happens when you're eating plants and natural foods.
And that will make you feel like $1,000,000.
You will feel great, and that,
And ironically enough, I was on his juice cleanse when Thomas died.
Hmm.
And that sustained me because I certainly wasn't eating or
Sure.
anything else, but it kept me hydrated. It kept me with all good nutrients in my body.
Sure, that's the beauty of,
Yeah.
juices, is you're able to take nutrients and nutrition and assimilate it into your body very easily, because it's broken down into a juice,
already,
into a
yeah.
liquid form. So it's very gentle on your gastrointestinal tract. It helps with, if there are gastrointestinal issues, to assimilate the foods, the nutrients.
But when
And-
you detox, even doing that juice, your body starts to feel so amazing.
Right.
And I wish everyone could feel how naturally amazing you could feel by doing all of those things.
Well, and the juice too, it's natural sugar.
Yes.
So when people come off, especially alcohol, they crave that sugar because,
Yes.
there's a lot of sugar in alcohol, obviously. So the juice would be.
But even with the opiates, I remember with my son doing heroin, oh my gosh, sugar fiend. Always. Candy, and all of that. So what a great, healthy way
Yeah.
to get all those sugars back into your body and start to slowly change your chemistry and move into that place where, my younger son, Andrew, always says, because Thomas's Hope will have a sober house one day, and he said he's going to take the residents hiking, kayaking, fishing, all of the things, just to be outside and just to be and just to enjoy what's our planet is. We live on such a beautiful island, especially during the summer. I mean, who's got it better than us, really?
It's true.
Between the beaches and the North Shore, the scenery, I would put that up against any beach in the world.
Yeah,
know,
absolutely.
I mean,
get into
it's-
nature. I mean, if
get
you want to
into
get high,
nature.
get into nature. Get in the ocean, swim around,
Yeah.
hike on the trail.
Yeah.
For me, I grew up in the 60s, 70s, and there was experimentation with drugs, of course.
There's always
Oh,
going
in the
to
60s
be.
there were experimentation with drugs?
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. But here's the thing. This is what I discovered. There was really nothing that lasted, because, when you're getting high unnaturally, you always feel like crap after.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
You feel like crap. And what I discovered was, through exploring things of your body, getting your body to produce natural endorphins, you feel good after. The byproduct of that is energy, is, pleasurable feelings, better sleep, things like that. So I kind of gravitated towards ways of feeling good because they work better.
They do
Bottom
work
line-
better.
The
Yeah.
bottom line is you feel a lot better. The ecstasy that you're looking for is far superior.
Absolutely. I'm a Deadhead, so I just
Right.
got back from Chicago. I went and saw the Grateful Dead do their
Wow.
last 3 shows, and every day I got up and did yoga.
Mm-hmm.
After, the next day, while everybody else was sleeping off their hangovers.
Right.
Yeah, and who do you think had more energy every day?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Hello, that would be me.
And how do you cope when you're around people that are using substances?
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
at the
you're-
shows, we have a group called the
Okay.
Wharf Rats, Clean and Sober Deadheads,
Nice.
who go to the shows. They have a little table. Everybody has a little meeting during the intermission. They hang out together.
Very
So
brilliant.
that's like amazing.
Very brilliant.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Because now there's also a new club called Young People in Recovery. So, because this generation that we are losing, the ones that are, clean and sober now, are coming together. And they're going kayaking
Yeah,
and
yes, they
canoeing,
should.
and they're doing all of these things.
Yes.
And they found their peeps.
That's what you got to do, and
You
that's
gotta
the key.
find your peeps.
That's the key.
You have to
can't
have your
hang out with
go-to
those same people.
Right.
No, you
You
cannot.
can't.
That's a good point. Get a circle of friends, a support group that does things, that understands.
And they have,
You know,
yeah, they can't be
That you
using.
can go to a show and you can dance and get high from that. You know, and
Exactly.
just have
Oh my
fun.
goodness, there's so much fun to be had.
Yeah.
I can be a complete idiot all the time and have the best time, but I don't care what other people think because I'm having fun.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Don't worry about what anybody else is thinking. Worry about what you're thinking
There you
and
go.
enjoy the moment in time that you are at.
Yes.
Because what else do we have in this world?
You got one life, you got one body, you got to take
Yeah.
care of it.
You have to
I always
take
say
care.
it's the only one you got.
Mm-hmm.
You take care of
And-
it, it will
and-
take care of you.
It's the only one you're going to get. So,
Yeah. Take
that's
care of it. And it could be great. It could be a great ride, if you really just figure out what makes you happy. Follow your dreams.
And
follow
there's
your
so
passion.
many other ways to do. So, yoga, acupuncture, chiropractic, some live food make you feel amazing. That's for
Absolutely.
sure.
Yeah.
So,
I try to do all that
Yeah,
stuff.
absolutely.
and when you do them all together,
Forget about
That's
it.
the-
Yeah,
that's the
it's
way.
sky's the limit.
That's the way.
it really is. So Soberflex, Saturday night, 6 p.m. The address again?
639 Comac Road in Comac, New York. And the website is yogaflexny.com. And the link is on the website.
I hope we blow out that room this weekend. That's
We
what
might.
I
That
hope.
would be great.
That would be awesome. That
Yeah.
would be really awesome to
Sure.
get a bunch of people together.
It's free. I mean,
It's free. It's a Saturday night. You do that.
Right.
Then you can go out afterwards. You'll feel great after doing a little yoga at
and
night.
we have food afterwards too.
Yeah,
so
nice.
We have
It's a
refreshments.
refreshments.
It's a party.
Make it
It's a
happen.
We
party.
do good parties at Yoga Flex.
I agree. I've been to
Yes,
Yoga Flex parties.
yes,
It's a
you
happy
do.
time.
And maybe somebody will do a little massage. Eugene.
Oh, you never know. Eugene, Thai massage,
Yes.
chiropractic.
Chiropractic. So I think but there are other ways for us to deal with issues that are going on in our lives. So I think everybody needs to, from this show tonight, I hope that people have learned to take a step back. Not everything gets solved
Yeah.
in the same day that it may occur, and that's
This is it.
okay.
This is it.
And that's okay.
Be all right. for
Learn
a
how to
moment.
practice yoga, learn how to have a grateful heart, chiropractic, acupuncture, any and all of these things, do them all together, and you will create an environment that you will not want outside substances in, and certainly can help with any healing.
Yep.
Healing of a broken heart, of a broken mind, and a broken spirit, really. You'll find your spiritualness. I know that.
Me too.
God can't talk when there's too much going on. He will talk, but when you're quiet, imagine you can hear your higher power voice.
Mhm.
So, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I look forward to seeing everybody back next Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Have a great week, and we'll all see you Saturday night at 6 p.m. at Yoga Flex.
All right.
Have a great week.